When it comes to sales methodologies, I feel like this. Confused, overwhelmed by the number of sales methodologies. It seems like a new one's popping up every couple months. In this video, I am breaking down 3 popular sales methodologies. What I like, don't like, and most importantly, how to apply these, how to use these today to stay disciplined in your sales deals. To start, a sales methodology is a framework that outlines how a seller approaches each phase of the sales process. It helps guide your actions as a seller with best practices and principles. In simple English, it explains the how and what behind the process. First up, BANT. Budget, authority, need, timing. This is big at the company I work at and sell for, IBM, because IBM developed BANT back in the 1950s. BANT is focused on identifying qualified prospects by focusing on a company's B, budget. Does the company have money to make the purchase of my product or service? A, authority. Am I meeting with someone who has the authority to make a buying decision? And need. Do they have a problem that my product or service can solve? And lastly, T, timing. How urgent is it for the prospect to make the buying decision? This is all information you need as a salesperson, but most salespeople don't go about getting this information in a subtle way. Instead, they will be insulting and interrogate the prospect to make sure the prospect satisfies the BANT criteria. Are you the decision maker? Do you have the budget to buy my product or service? Absolutely awful and insulting questions. And oftentimes what salespeople will do is they will ask these awful, insulting questions before verifying their product or service is a viable option to solve the prospect's problems. Similar to BANT is MEDDIC. M, metrics. What quantifiable gains is a potential lead looking to generate from your solution? E, economic buyer. Who at this company has the power to make purchasing decisions? D, decision criteria. What decision criteria does this company use to choose vendors and products? D, decision process. What is the internal structure and workflow that needs to happen for this company to make a decision? I, identify pain. What is the problem this company wants to solve? C, champion. Who inside this company can advocate for our product or service? Usually the people who will benefit from it most. Both BANT and MEDDIC are focused on helping you qualify leads which are worth pursuing as a salesperson, so you're not wasting your time. Now, BANT is used when the sales process is simple and straightforward. MEDDIC is used for more complex sales because it goes beyond the basic qualifying that BANT simply covers. With MEDDIC, it really wants you as the salesperson to understand the inner workings of the organization. How are decisions made? And it's important to know these details to best forecast your deals in your pipeline. The issue with BANT and MEDDIC is that it's very me-focused, seller-focused. It's not buyer-focused whatsoever. However, BANT and MEDDIC information, you need to know this information. You need to know this shit to successfully sell in 2023 and definitely in 2024. The problem isn't BANT and MEDDIC itself. The problem is never the sales methodology itself. It's the salesperson applying that sales methodology and going about how they're satisfying that sales methodology criteria. At the end of my sales calls, there are 2 questions I ask after verifying my product is a viable solution to solve my prospect's problems. There are 2 questions I ask that are focused on BANT and MEDDIC information. Number 1, Chris, can you walk me through what does the process look like? What steps do you and your team need to take internally to make a definitive yes or no decision on this? Or Chris, the last time you purchased technology like this, what did the process look like internally to make that decision to buy? These questions, what they're doing, guys, is they're teasing out the buying process, procurement, and you're going to get an idea of the authority in the deal. And number 2, Chris, if this proves to be the right solution, I want to make sure we're matching your urgency here for this project. When is the absolute latest you're going to want this fully implemented? What that question is doing, it's helping you accurately forecast your deals with timeline. It's much better than asking some stupid timeline question that BANT and MEDDIC would want you to ask. And now we have gap selling.
Where are they today? What is going on? Why do they think that they change? What are the issues they're having? How is it affecting the business? What happens if they don't do it? You uncover all of that, and that's called the current state. Then you say, oh, great, well, where would you like to go? Why do you have to go there? What happens if you don't? What are the objectives? How are you going to measure the outcomes? What are the desired outcomes, right? What are the opportunities for you? And once you do that, believe it or not, a gap is formed. And that gap is the space of where they are today and what they can't do and what's negatively affecting them to, if they could change, what they could change to and how that would change their world and what the new outcomes would be. So what I say, the future state minus the current state is the gap. And that's what they buy, by the way. They buy the gap.
The guy in that clip explaining gap selling is the founder and author of Gap Selling, Keenan. Now, I'm a big fan of Keenan. I know some people are not. He's a bit abrasive. He uses the F word every other word. I think his book, Gap Selling, I have it back here. My little light is sitting on it. It's one of the best books I ever read on sales. If you're an account executive, I would recommend reading that book. It's linked in the description of this video. So big fan of Keenan, big fan of the book. And why I love Gap Selling so much, guys, as a sales methodology, it's because it's problem-centric. It's focused on a problem. It's not focused on budget, authority, timing. It's focused on what is your problem? What is your current state? Where do you want to get to? What is that future state? This is the gap, and now I'm selling on closing that gap. Here is Keenan, and F-laced Keenan, explaining why gap selling is so much better than both BANT and MEDDIC.
What did I say I do?
You said you help people get shit done.
Yeah, or achieve the goals they want to achieve, right? Mm-hmm. So how does BANT help me help somebody do that? BANT helps me. BANT tells me, oh, if you have budget, good. Okay, you have budget, you can pay me. Oh, you're authority, good. You're the person that's going to be able to make the decision. So if I keep influencing you, you're going to buy from me. And you have a need? Okay, great. I can sell to that. In time, you're going to get it done now so I can tell my boss that it's going to be done at this certain time so I can count on it for my pipeline or for my commission. Where the fuck does that provide any value to the buyer?
Can I play devil's advocate on that?
Bring it.
Because
Yep.
I wonder if you probably are still getting those things, aren't you? But just not as explicitly as, now can I talk to you about budget? Now can I talk to you about this? Oh, I know you go into decision-making process, but it's not as explicit. You probably are still wanting to find those things out through the process.
No, I never
right?
need to find out budget. Here, walk you through they all come by default. This is why I knew gap selling was the greatest selling methodology on the planet, because it did everything by default. So if you're able to create something that makes everything else happen by default, you knew they were the symptoms, not the real problem, right? So budget. I saw some. I ripped into Well, okay, let me start over. I compared MEDDIC to gap selling, and I said the same thing about MEDDIC, right? I said it's pretty much all seller centric, not buyer centric. Right. And the person said, well, you can make MEDDIC or budget or BANT buyer centric. And it says, when I asked them about budget, I says, look, can you tell me what your budget is? I want to make sure that we're within line. I hate for us to make an offer or a solution that's beyond your budget. So if you can share that with me, it'd make it easier for us to prepare something for you and fit within your budget. And I said, because that assumes that there is a set budget that they have to work within. And if you gap sell and you actually understand the size of the problem, the budget is in a direct correlation to the size of the problem. So if you budgeted $500 to fix your car this year, and it ended up being a $7,000 repair, and it's a $80,000 car, so you can't just scrap it, and you can't drive without it, are you going to pay the $7,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, you damn fucking straight you are. So it doesn't matter that I have only budgeted $500. I have a $7,000 problem, and watch this. The cost of fixing the $7,000 problem, the benefit of fixing the $7,000 problem is $150,000, $200,000, $500,000. You're going to spend the money. So I never have to ask you your budget. When I've done a complete discovery and I understand that you have a $3 million problem, your sales team is off by $2 million, you have high churn, your average sales prices decline 20%, year over year, and I say, hey, it's going to cost you $250,000 to do the training with us. And you're like, well, I only budgeted $100,000. I'm like, and you have a $4 million problem. Go find the other $150,000. And guess what they do?
They go find it.
Because holy shit, we have a $3 million problem. $150,000 to fix it or $250,000 to fix it is nothing. I don't have to have a budget conversation. The problem defines your budget. Let me just say that. Everybody fucking paying attention. The problem defines your fucking budget. Giant problem, you're going to pay enough to fix it. Tiny problem, you're not. So I don't need to know the budget. Period. Same thing with authority. If I have a giant fucking problem and you're not the authority, you're going to quickly go tell, hey, Tom, we got a problem. You need to get in here. You need to come see this, right? My kids are not the authority in this house. If the fucking kitchen sink is leaking all over the floor, they come running upstairs. Dad, we got a problem.
Fucking love it. I love it.
The fucking problem drives the authority, it drives the budget, and it drives the timing. Hey man, if you're losing, let's stick to fucking the water thing again. It's leaking. The pipe is leaking, right? Tip, trip, 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 trip. It's annoying. It irritates me. I want to get it fixed. I got a podcast with you. I've got a meeting here. I'll get to it later, right? If all of a sudden, what's my timing on getting it fixed? I don't know, couple of weeks, size of the problem, right? If all of a sudden that thing starts gushing and all over the floor, what's my timing to close? Right fucking now, motherfucker. Let's go, plumber. Get your ass over here. My house will be destroyed. I can't mop it up fast enough. I don't know how to turn off the water main. Let's fucking go. The problem drives the timing. Don't fucking ask me what the timing is. Find my problem, understand the impact, equate what the cost of doing nothing is over time, and you know what the timing is. You don't have to ask the fucking client. BANT's a fucking joke, and every person who continues to argue it's not has their head up their ass, and they're not thinking. They're not thinking.
Gap selling wins this battle. Now, it's important to note, guys, there's so many different sales methodologies out there. Don't pigeonhole yourself into just using one. There's a lot of great elements of all of them. I know Keenan probably disagrees with me on this, but I think there's good elements of BANT, good elements of MEDDIC. You don't have to just use gap selling. Use elements of all the different sales methodologies and come up with one that works for you and your business. Now, if you guys want me to do a part 2 and pick 3 other sales methodologies, let me know in the comment section below. Like this video, please subscribe, guys. It really helps out the YouTube channel. I think 80% of our viewers do not subscribe. It helps us out tremendously. It shows that we're going in the right direction. So if you can, just hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me and everyone working on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, guys. We appreciate it.